Well, good morning, everyone. This is your average Jen coming at you from my room. Today's episode is another recovery path one. I talked to a guy named Chris whose passion is for cutting hair, and I haven't listened to this episode like as much as the other ones, so I've forgotten the content. So we'll just get right into it. Okay, there it is. Do and play.
Hi there, and welcome to I'm Only Human, a podcast that attempts to explain how to coexist with other humans. This podcast is going to dive into topics like: is it possible to overcome human nature? Are rules and laws necessary for taming bad behaviors, or are they simply a control mechanism crafted by other disturbed minds? Why do we fight with each other? How does traditional religion impact us? Can social disease be healed through individual recovery? My name is Jen, and I'm an average human. Before I begin, I would like to state that I will be talking about controversial things such as, but not limited to, religion, God, the Bible, 12-step programs, and politics. I am not an expert, and I don't claim to be one. I will, however, be referencing Alcoholics Anonymous because it is the granddaddy of all other 12-step programs. I will also be quoting things from the Bible and mentioning God along with different religions. I'm not trying to promote a particular program, nor am I trying to convert anyone. I believe religion gives us a foundation, and 12-step recovery guides people down a path to self-actualization. Through recovery, healing is possible. I believe that changed minds and attitudes can change our world.
My name is Carlton Stovall. I'm 36 from the inner city of Milwaukee, born and raised. I'm working. I'm a master barber. Got one kid, and that's pretty much me. As far as I can remember, I started out cutting hair when I was 12. I started trying to cut my own hair just because we didn't have I grew up with my mother, well, who was really my aunt, but she raised me like her son, so I call her my mother. We didn't have a lot of money, so I had to cut my own hair. I started out trying to, look good for school. I messed my hair up a million times, but eventually I got it right. Yeah, so that was cool. Just gaining that type of throughout the years. I would end up going to Ethan Allen, which was a juvenile prison for at-risk youth, which I was at the time, and that's where I learned my basic skills of how to cut hair. I had some training, but I ended up going to Ethan Allen, just hanging with the wrong people, wrong person at the wrong time. I ended up going to Ethan Allen for 4 counts of armed robbery.
Wow.
Yeah, I was party to a crime on 4 counts of armed robbery on a situation that I had no plans on doing. I was just going to school like a regular day. I seen one of my friends, and he like, "Hey man, you want to skip school?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" We normally skip school and go play the video game and come back because I was going to day and night school. So I'm like, "Okay, cool. Ain't no nothing different from a normal day." And so we leave in school, and he showed me a gun, but at this point, I'm like 15, 16 guns is normal. So I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, he probably just got it for protection. But as we leave in school, we get about a block away from the school, and he randomly runs up on a couple and pulls out a gun and rob them. At this point, shit, I got on my regular clothes, no mask, no nothing. I'm like, I'm totally shocked because this is my first time ever doing something, being a part of something like this, and I don't know what to do. So I just go along with them. And yeah, it cost me a lot. Cost me my college education. You know, I'm thinking like, shit, I'm going to jail. They gonna say that I was with them, and I'm gonna go to jail anyway. You know, I'm just like, all these thoughts is happening so fast. You don't want to stay on a crime scene,
Right.
and you don't know. You know what I mean? If your parents ain't never put you for a situation like that, you don't know what to do when you in that situation. So,
Okay.
and yeah, because it was just that type of stuff wasn't talked about. I came from a fairly good home. I mean, we didn't have a lot, but you know, the morals and the principle was taught not to be out here doing no bullshit like that. And so that's why I say I got caught up at the wrong place, wrong time, hanging with the wrong people. And that's kind of why I was interested in doing this interview and why I thought it would be important that if somebody heard my story, then maybe it might help them. You know, if it might not reach 100 people, but if it reach one person, it was worth it.
Right. You said that guns were normal while you were growing up. It wasn't
Yeah,
normal in my world, so to me that's kind of a foreign concept.
yeah. I mean, well, when I was growing up, pretty much everybody I've been around, especially the older guys and people, just because I was pretty much raised in the streets. So people I hung around, people from my neighborhood, my block, mostly everybody carried a gun. Especially not so much the kids when I was younger, not the younger guys, but pretty much all the older teenagers and adults had guns.
Okay. And so yeah, that was your culture.
Yeah.
Looking back, do you know now that that's not like the typical culture, and how do you feel about that? Or is that still the typical culture?
I was to say, yeah, it's pretty much still the culture. I wouldn't necessarily say it was my culture. It was just the culture that I was born into. But yeah, because my culture was Christian culture. Go to church, obey your parents, clean the house, do your chores, make sure you do your homework, try to become something in life. But I feel like I was born and forced into a world of poverty, crime. Like I said, I never asked for any of these things that happen to me. I'm just doing the best I can with them. But so yeah, and that's what a lot of times I feel like kids they got a lot of stuff going on at home or at school. You know, they might be getting bullied, whatever, and don't even know how to talk about it or don't know who to talk to or why they should talk about it. It's just a lot of things. It's like a domino effect. This happens, and next thing you know, this happens. It just keeps on going and rolling. But after all of that, after I came home, I got my CNA license. I went to school at downtown MATC. I got my CNA license, and I worked as a paraprofessional, or it was like a daycare for the mentally ill, and I worked there for a while, taking care of at it was like there in a nursing home. It was owned by the same person, but I did that for a few years. I worked at Freighter Hospital for about a year doing transport and CNA.
Did you like doing
And
that kind of work?
yeah, the healthcare. To me, it was a special need kind of work. You know what I mean? They needed people who genuinely cared about people to do the work, and it was cool. My mom was a medical assistant forever, for years, long as I can remember. So that's what kind of pushed me into the medical field and made me want to go in that field.
So then what
After,
happened to that medical field?
honestly, I just got tired of wiping ass. The smells and all of that, it just got to me, and I was like, this is not the field I think I should be going into.
Right, I
And I
hear
was
that. I was a CNA before too, and I had to quit. I couldn't give the patients the care I felt that they deserved, and those are horrible places. I feel they're horrible
right.
places. Like the employees try to do the best they can, but they're so overwhelmed, and the system is just horrible.
That, and then you got people dying almost every day or every week, and you growing relationships with these people because it's the person you taking care of, and they die, and you like, man, that sucks. So I got that was another part. Like I just got tired of seeing people growing relationships with people and seeing them die.
Yeah, that's hard.
So yeah, so I liked it to see they work, but I just couldn't get past the snails. And like you said, once I lost my passion for it, to where I felt like my heart wasn't all the way in it. I just would stop doing it. Plus, I was already good at cutting hair, and I had I had a friend who owned a barbershop who was offering me an opportunity to change lanes, and he was going to allow me to come on as an apprentice, and he teach me, and I go to school at the same time, and so that's what we did.
And so you're
Oh yeah,
making a career out of this barbershop stuff?
yes, yes, yes. Barbering is my chosen career. Uh, I'm actually getting signed up to school to go back to school to renew my barber's license so I can open me my own barber shop.
You need a license to be a barber? Well, I suppose, yeah, you need training.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just because like a lot of it is sanitation. Like, you gotta clean all your clippers. You're gonna be cutting people hair. You gotta have clean comb. Uh, just all the proper materials in case you end up nicking and cutting somebody. Anything. Plus, you want to be a professional. You wouldn't, you don't want to take your car to the alley mechanic.
True, true.
You might get a good deal, but something might always be wrong with your car.
Right, yeah. I've dealt with back street mechanics before, and my car was always broken.
Yeah. So, yeah. So yeah. Cutting hair is what I do. That's my lane. Chris will get you crispy. Is my slogan. My family and friends call me Chris. Yeah. So while I was working at the barber shop and cutting hair, we had a guy come in there and try to rob the barber shop. It come back around full circle.
Oh, yeah. Karma's a bitch sometimes.
Yeah, from being the guy behind the gun to being the guy in front of the gun. And it was early in the morning. It's like 7 a.m. in the morning. We just opened in the barber shop, and a young guy comes in there to rob us. He pulls the gun out on me, put it in my face, talking about give him my money. But he don't know I ain't even got no money to give him. I ain't made no money yet.
Right. So I guess you're fortunate there.
Yeah. No, I was fortunate to have a guy work alongside of a guy who protected his place of business. He carried and concealed, and he was able to draw his weapon and scare the guy off. The guy kind of just like took back off and ran out of the shop. But after that, I started carrying guns myself out of out of fear and protection. But let me take you back though, because after I stopped CNA, after I lost that job, I started selling dope for a little while. I tried my hands in the streets for a second. Thought that, hey, you know what? I don't need a job. I could just make my way in the streets, and I did pretty good. I made some money, but I learned a lot about people, about the street, just about life, about how you think things go, and then how it actually goes. And that's another message I wanted to give to the kids, because everything starts out a good thing or it starts out cool, but next thing you know, it get real, real quick. Next thing you know, there's legal issues involved, and everybody think it's cool until they sitting in that jail cell, they sitting in the bullpen with 10, 12 other people. They telling you can't go to sleep, it stank, you can't go home, and you just stuck there and doing whatever they say do until they say you ain't got to do it no. Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
I imagine not.
And that was the deciding factor of when I decided I wanted to turn my life around. They gave me 5 years probate. I caught a dope case in the city of Portland. No, was it city of Port Washington? No, it was Oshkosh. I caught a dope case in Oshkosh in 2006, and they gave me 5 years. probation with 2 years withheld, meaning that if I fuck up while I'm on that 5 years of probation, I go back in front of the judge. He gives me my 2 years, and I will have to go to prison for 2 years. But fortunately for me, I walked it down. I didn't get revocated. I completed my paper probation. But yeah, that's when I knew like I couldn't do no 5 years in prison. I ain't trying to do no 5 years in prison. So that's when I knew it was time for me to turn my life around and start making better decisions. I thought that because I wasn't committing crime no more, that hey, that's it stopped there. I turned my life around. I'm like, so, but that wasn't it. It was so much other things. Maintaining a job, keeping a job, uh, still having to deal with people that's crazy in the street. We ain't even gotten to relationships and all the stuff that go into that. So it was it's a lot of stuff. But yeah, so that's when I decided to turn my life around, and I decided like I just wanted more out of life, or I wanted more for me, and I just knew that going back and forth in and out of prison or going to prison for long periods of time wasn't for me.
Well, that's
But
good.
yeah, you still learn some lessons and learn some things the hard way. Like I said, after I got this barber shop got robbed, I started carrying a gun. I ended up getting caught up for that. Now I'm a felon possession of a firearm. And at the time I was in a crazy toxic relationship where I'm going to court for the gun, and the lady called the police because she's upset. Not that I did anything to her, but just the fact that she's upset with me because I have another relationship with someone else. And now it doesn't turn into a whole bigger issue for me. So yes, I've learned some lessons in life.
Well,
So,
that's good that you've learned. The people from your past, have they learned, or are they still caught up in that drug and criminal world?
honestly, I have some friends on both sides. I have some friends where they committed and they've chosen that path, and that's the lifestyle that they gonna live. And I have some friends who turned it around and got their life together and on the successful side of things.
So, what do you think the difference is between you and these other people? Was it like your family, like core values that were instilled in you, where these other people may not have had that?
No, honestly, I think it was just the belief that I can do more and I can be more than just an average street guy who, running around. It's harder to be an upstanding citizen. It's easy to settle for the street life and be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be a street guy. Life shit handed me a shitty hand. I didn't have my parents, blah blah blah, all this sad shit. And you just say, oh okay, the life forced me into the streets. I'm just gonna accept it. Or you say, nah, you know what? I'm a bigger, better guy than that. I don't have to settle for no bullshit. I'm gonna create my own history. And you start to work towards that, and whatever that looks like. For me, I thought it would be. For me, it's an entrepreneurship. It's having my own place of business that I can call my own. It's having my freedom. It's being able to get up and go to work every day and have an opportunity to feed my family. It's my daughter loving me as a father. It's my girlfriend loving me as a boyfriend, husband. You know, my stepchildren looking at me as a role model. My family and friends look at me as a role model and support system. So that's my success.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to turn your life around. Otherwise, your story would be very different today.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I get up in the morning and I thank God, for allowing me to see another day. And, I just always know, like, I wasn't supposed to make it this far. If I tell you my mother was on drugs, I was born 6 months premature in the inner city of Milwaukee. By the age of 25, I should be dead or in jail. So, for me to be out and be thriving and creating an opportunity. I don't got a bunch of kids running around, and it's just like I wasn't supposed to make it this far. So every day is a bonus for me, just being on this side of the ground is a bonus because I wasn't supposed to make it this far, and I had a lot of situations where it could have ended up a different way.
So if there's like people like on the fence there between trying to make a good choice and a bad choice, is there any advice or anything you could offer them?
Yes, yes, there is, and it's not the slickest or the sexiest path, but it's the only path. And the path is there. Nothing will be right in your life until you start to walk a righteous path. Meaning, nothing is going to be right. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to get the things that you want. You're not going to make the relationships that you want to have until you start to do what's right. If you're young, that's going to school, getting good, getting decent grades, giving yourself an opportunity to advance your life and career and things that you want to do and have an independent, fulfilled, successful life. So you got to start taking those right steps. If it's just one day, 1 minute, 1 second at a time, start taking those right steps. That's going to get you to where you want to be. If you're messed up and you're trying to get to success, the quickest way is a straight line. So you have to, whenever you get done from trying to run the streets or trying to play games to get attention or do whatever you're doing, you're going to have to come back and walk this righteous path. And that's the only way it works. So you got to start doing what's right. And if it don't feel right, it ain't right.
Those are some true words there. If it doesn't feel right, it's not the right thing to do.
Exactly. And it was crazy. I learned that in juvenile prison. I had a correctional officer. He was an older, fat white guy. And, he was cool though. He just used to talk a lot of shit, but he was real. And I did something and I got in trouble for it and I didn't understand why. And I told him, I said, he was like, I was like, you know what? It didn't feel right. He was like, you know what, Carl, I'm gonna let you know something. 9 times out of 10, if it don't feel right, it's not right. And that stuck with me because every time I got ready to do something that I knew was wrong or I got ready to do some bullshit, I felt it. Like, damn, I shouldn't be doing this or this don't feel right. It was a quick thought or a quick feeling inside of me, but you feel it. Like, I don't think I should be doing this.
Yeah, I know that. Like if I do something I know I shouldn't be doing, like the guilt I feel afterwards is terrible and I hate feeling that way.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. So, and that's another thing. Once you start to accomplish little goals or just make little strides in the right way, you feel better. You can feel it. It's like working out and seeing results after 3 weeks. You're like, oh man, you know what? I am starting to lose a little bit. It is starting to come together. It's the same thing with walking the righteous path. It's not easy in the beginning. It's very hard because you have little to no understanding. But as time go on and you continue to walk this path, it gets easier. And next thing you know, blessings start coming your way just because that's how God works. You got to put out good in order to receive good.
I know that with helping other people, that's what helps me in being around other people and talking with other people. I've been isolated like most of my life, and I did that to myself, but I'm realizing that I get energy by being around other people, and that's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But you got to watch the energy, because we want to help everybody, but you can't give everybody your energy because some people come around with this negative energy, and we feel like, well, they negative energy might ain't gonna affect me because I'm me or I have good energy, but it does. They negative energy does affect you, And if you can, try to keep those negative people out of your life, friends, family, associates, whoever.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like every day when I walk into work, and I'm not going to say where I work, but every day I walk into work, it's a struggle because everyone's in such a bad, foul mood. And I can only keep to myself and try to remain positive for so long before their feelings overtake me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah. Uh, you just try to keep it positive, do what you can. The good thing, if you can, try to stay to yourself, because you never know, And when I deal with people like that, like I said, I just try to stay to myself and I just try to keep a positive energy about myself because, when you walking with God, it give you that type of strength. It give you that type of power. Like, hey, you can't move me. I wish you blessings on your way. I hope you go get through whatever got you feeling like that. And a lot of times, people just need to grow up. You know what I mean? And if you can understand that, even though that some people are adults, that they're not mature, then you can accept it and move past it and be like, you know what? Yeah, that person still got some growing to do.
Right? Adult does not equal mature.
No, no, it does not. It does not. You see a lot of people who are over way past the age of 18 or 21, whatever you consider an adult. I can go as far as to 25 and still nothing, nowhere near mature. You got people in their 30s, 40s, nowhere near mature. And it's cool. You just that's why you got to make sure yourself is in position or that you can try to help somebody else grow.
Right? Like on a plane, they always say you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help anyone else.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is true. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But once you know who you are, and that's another thing, especially with children. Not small children, but like teenagers and adolescents. They trying to figure out who they don't even know who they are. So they trying to figure out life and trying to figure out who they want to be, or and how can they get to that point. So they got all this confusion going on, and they're trying to figure out things. Of course, they're gonna make some poor decisions if they ain't got nobody there guiding them into the right decision. And the only way you can guide them is they gotta trust you.
Right. I'm trying to create like a recovery community for our kids because I think our kids need help and they can't necessarily get that help from the parent because the parents are basically absent or at work. So it's hard for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, definitely, definitely. It's a lot of factors going into that, and I get it. A lot of parents do have to work and are not privileged to be as much in tune with their kids as they would like. In between trying to get some rest and trying to squeeze in their own personal time, it's a lot. So yeah, and that's why you need that village. You need the village as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. That's
Right.
why you need the village. Yeah, that's why you find mentors. When I was younger and I was a kid, I thought it was weak as hell. Like, oh man, I'm not gonna do no mentorship. This guy's gonna babysit me. I'm grown. But as I got older, I understood like, you need a mentor. You need people in your life that's gonna help you get to where you're trying to go. And more importantly, you need somebody from the outside to tell you that they believe in you.
Right. That's so important. It helps if it's someone that's not within the family because when it comes from a family member, the child or whoever is like, well, you're just obligated to say that. But when it comes from a stranger, they're more apt to listen.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Especially if we can get them, if we in tune with the child. Like my daughter wants to go into wrestling, so I might try to find her a mentor that's into wrestling or a wrestling trainer or something. Somebody where they speak in a language that she wants to hear.
Yeah, that
Because
makes sense.
if I don't find out that she like wrestling and I go sign her up for basketball, she ain't gonna listen to nothing that they saying.
Right. Okay, so do you want to put a plug in for where you cut hair so that people listening like around the Milwaukee area can come get a haircut?
Sure, I'm a mobile barber.
Okay.
I can come to you. My number is 414-999-6350. I can come to you, or I have my own home. You can come to me until I get my shop off the ground. I just got a lot of things in progress right now. But yes, definitely call me and I will come and get you crispy.
Sounds good. All right, I think that we're going to wrap up here then, if that's all right with you.
Cool, sounds good with me.
In closing, I would like to say that the opinions expressed here were strictly of my own making, or by my guests. Take what you like and leave the rest. You may come to realize that you may not like me or what I want to share. Let's talk to each other, reason things out, but let there be no gossip or criticism of one another. Instead, let the fellowship of ethical human behavior and the serenity from positive human interaction help you grow and chill out, one experience at a time. I would like to thank my higher power for guiding me through this podcast. I hope to spread the message of love, hope, and understanding by touching one life at a time. If you like this podcast, please like and share it. Comments also help other struggling people find it. I am now listener supported, and if you would like to contribute, please feel free. There is no obligation. If you would like to share feedback, you can email me at averagehumanbeing1875@gmail.com. There is also a link you can click if you'd like to send a voice message and add to the content of the show.
No, pause. Okay. I forgot how inspirational Chris was. I'm going to have to contact him and see how he's doing. It's been a while. So take what you like from everything he said and leave the rest. He had a lot of good things to share and communicate. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.